Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another episode of the Mareathon. Life's not a sprint, it's a marathon. My name's Mare and I would love it if you laced up and subscribed to my channel today. There's a link down here below. I post multiple videos a week on all kinds of topics, and today is the second in a series where I'm talking about things that I learned in the last year since my husband took his life. It's been 1 year and 1 month since my husband passed away, and I got a lot of questions last month, people saying like, can you talk about what you've learned, what lessons have been best for you? And so I made a note in my phone one day on a whim of all these different things, and I'm going to share those with you. I shared a few in the first part of this video, and I feel like there's going to be a third because there's just so many things I want to share and I want them to sit there with you. I don't want it to be too much information thrown at you. I really want it to resonate with you and give you some time to think about it. So if you missed part one, feel free to watch that, but I'm just gonna dive into it. So something that I really learned in the last year that was one of the most difficult things to contend with was other people's grief and other people's reaction to my grief and my loss and their grief and their loss with Jeremy, and losing friends over it, people who didn't understand why I was upset, why I was still upset, why this had changed me, or people who their own emotions just overtook and they themselves couldn't handle it, and so that ended friendships, made things awkward. That was, people warned me that everyone would be super supportive at the beginning and then people would fade away into their own lives and wouldn't be supportive anymore. And they also warned me that death makes like people react weird to it. I was warned, but it was still really difficult. Definitely anyone who knows me knows that it's been like one of the most difficult aspects in the last year. But what I learned, and just kind of right before the anniversary of Jeremy's passing, was that people deal with grief differently. We're not wired to deal with death, even though it happens to everybody. It's not something that we discuss when we're growing up. It's not something that we're taught how to deal with it. It's not something that we know what to do. It's not something really talked about. So when it happens, it's this flood of emotion and it's really uncomfortable and like, I don't want to deal with it, so I just don't. So I walk away from that friend or that family member or whatever. And so what I finally learned, thanks to a lot of great therapy, was that's okay. Some people are just not wired to deal with death or grief, and we all deal with it in our own ways. There are some people in my life who didn't like things that I've done, questioned things that I've done, or they grieve differently than me and it wouldn't have been how I had done it, and we had to agree to disagree very early on. You grieve how you will and I'll do me over here. And then the ones who have left my life being okay with that, and instead of holding a grudge or being upset, neutrally allowing them to leave and being okay with it. Not trying to fix it, not trying to convince them to stay, or trying to teach them how they should grieve or how they should respond, and not holding on to that like pain, because that was like so much of my energy and time. And so just like neutrally allowing them to leave my life, and then making space for people who are turning towards, like my therapist talks a lot about people who turn towards you and people who turn away. And I first learned about this when Jared and I were in marriage counseling and we were doing the Gottman method, and he talks a lot about that, where like people turn towards each other, or one turns away, or they both turn away. So I do have people in my life who are turning towards me and who want to be there for me and who want to help and who check in every day and text me, and learning to turn towards those people and quietly let the other ones neutrally go, because we're just not wired for it. Just a day in my life, always adjusting that lighting. So that's been very helpful, and it's made things less painful and easier to accept and let go of, and spend my time on those who are turning towards and myself. Spend more time on myself. A friend of mine who tragically also lost her partner years ago, we lost contact, and then she showed up at Jeremy's funeral. And I remember emailing her a few weeks after, I think. I barely remember that email, but I think I was asking for her advice, like grasping at straws and being so upset and like wanting to hold on to someone who could semi-relate. And her advice was to try new things with new people. And that's been great. Making new friends, people who didn't know Jeremy, who don't see me as like one half of a couple that no longer exists, or who don't really see me as like the sad widow, who just see me as Mare, and who don't know me, so they're getting to know me as my age now, as like a single woman, has been nice and refreshing. Not to say I don't treasure the people who know me and treasure the people who have loved me forever, like those people are right here, but that has been nice. Trying new things, meeting new people, trying new things with new people. So if you've lost someone, it's okay. That's an okay thing to do too, is to meet new people and try new things with new people, because that's definitely helped me for sure. Something that I just learned in the last month, well, the last month or so before the 1-year anniversary of Jeremy's passing, was it's okay to talk about it. And it's okay if other people are uncomfortable. I definitely went through a huge phase of, if someone didn't ask me about Jeremy, or they didn't ask me about my grief, or they didn't ask me how I was doing, I would never offer up that information. And even if they did ask me, there was a lot of times where I would just like not want to talk about it because I didn't want to make them uncomfortable. Like I said, we're not wired to talk about death. We're not wired to talk about grief. Unless you've been through it, then I find those people are much more comfortable talking about it sometimes. So I would never want to make someone else uncomfortable, so I just wouldn't talk about it. And I didn't want to be a drag, to be honest. Like, oh, I gotta see Mare again. Like, oh, she's gonna want to talk about being a sad widow, which is ridiculous. No one's ever thought that. No one's ever said that to me. But it was this thing in my mind of like, don't be sad widow. Don't be that person. Like, no one wants to talk about this. They just want to talk about random stuff. So, it's okay. It's okay to talk about it. You should talk about it, and you should find people in your life who want to talk to you about it, even if they're uncomfortable. So if you're watching this and you haven't lost someone, but someone in your life has lost someone, and you don't know what to say, that's okay. Just say that. Like, I want to stand up for you. I want to turn towards you. I want to be here for you, but I don't know what the hell to do. I don't know what to say, and I'm terrified I'm going to say the wrong thing. Chances are that person's just gonna be like, thanks for being here for me. I don't know what you can say either. I don't know what you can do, but I appreciate you just sitting here. Like, on the 1-year anniversary of Jeremy's passing, my good friend Leanne came over. We laid on the couch and watched Friends for hours, and it was beautiful. And then her and Thomas went out and got us pizza, and it was like, that's a friend showing up for you. And that's important. So it doesn't have to be some big conversation, and you don't have to worry about saying something like profound and meaningful. Just show up. That's it. And then if you're on the other side and someone shows up for you, talk about it, be vulnerable with them, be sad with them. Don't feel like you're being a drag. And if someone makes you feel like you aren't grieving properly, or like you are a drag, or you're annoying, or how come you're not over this yet, that's not about you, that's about them. That's been a really tough lesson for me, for sure, and a really hurtful lesson for me, but we're there now. So we're good. So I'm gonna leave that video here. I have more tips and tricks. Tips and tricks, that's a weird way to say it. I have more advice, more lessons, things that I've learned in the last year since my husband passed away. It's still really freaking weird to say that. So this is gonna be a trilogy, friends. This is gonna be a 3-parter. Thanks for watching. Please lace up and subscribe to my channel. Life's not a sprint, it's a marathon. I literally say that to myself multiple times a week because I'm so impatient or things aren't going my way or. And I'm like, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So thanks for watching. Please lace up and subscribe to my marathon. I would love to have you join the family, and I'll see you for the finale of this trilogy in the next video. Bye.